everyone. Thank you all for joining us. We are so excited to have two amazing guests and a co host that many of you have heard of from before. But my name is Claire. Thank you for tuning into Reality Check. And I have Angie here
Hey,
with me.
hey.
And then we have two fabulous contestants that are one is still on the show. And then one we're about to hear about her, I thought, fantastic performance, just so you know. But we have Holly and Mina.
Yes.
We're so
Welcome,
excited to have
ladies.
y'all.
Thanks, Claire.
Welcome. I think Claire, before we jump in and talk to them and get to recapping the show this week, I think it's cool if the audiences understand how terribly serendipitous this game show experience was for all of us. As you know, being on season one, you know all the friends you made and just how uh, unreal and unique that experience is. But it turns out that Mina and Holly had to fly 4,000 miles to find out that they live within 1 mile of each other in Nashville. In fact, Mina says that she drives by Holly's place like every day on her way to work. And if she like walked through a park, she'd get there in half the time. And they like didn't even know each other. And then they fly to, Ireland to film this show and then find out that they're basically neighbors. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. And then to know they're not just neighbors, but they became friends and had adjacent squares on the floor. It was kind of nuts.
Crazy is like 100 contestants. They could have. We're the only two people from Nashville. They could have put us anywhere. I'm like right next to each other.
Yeah.
Best
It was crazy because we were neighbors on the floor. We're practically neighbors in real life. I remember getting there on the first day, and someone was like, "There's another Nashville person here," and I figured out it was Mina, and I ran up to her, and we literally live so close to each other. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then y'all are, I mean, for the people that are not on the live stream and not watching, they are together at Mina's place.
Yes.
Right now. So,
I mean, the same place.
That is so fun. And I love that you guys have made this friendship. Like, I mean, as you all know, like it is probably one of the best friend making experiences like ever. And you have an entire group of people who have gone through the same experience. Like you can't really explain it to anyone else.
As much as Rob will say, like he did, in last night's episode to Austin and Mia, he's like, "This isn't about friendship. It's about $250,000." And it's like, yes, Rob, we get that and we know that, but you can make friends too. And I think we all did that. I know season one cast did. I know we did. And I've known some vets and I've got some veterans in my life, and I know like they might have like a buddy that was in the same unit with them, on a deployment that they never see, but then they see them again and it's like they're brothers, and they'll be like, well, Band of Brothers was that HBO show, because there's such a human connection for a shared experience like that is so uncommon. And I'm not saying it was like war, because I think we had a tremendously fun time. But it's the same thing. You put people in an uncommon situation under stress with a shared goal, and you're bound to come out of it with some good, lifelong connections. So I think it's great. I'm glad you guys are both here.
And really, it is the turf war.
Oh, you're right. It is a trivia turf war. You're right.
I don't know if Rob ever says that in y'all's season, but he said turf war like at least once an episode for season one. So like that is like ingrained in my brain. So
I believe that. And he did say more than once that, you're not here to make friends, you're here to win. And we all looked at each other like, why not both? And it was like, we were like the antithesis of a competition reality show. But I think that was really, what was fun. And obviously you guys, Mina and Holly, really represent that. And I think most of the duels last night, same thing. There was much respect across the board from the first duel to the last. And I just think it was very classy. And I would say the same for season one, just class act, everybody. And you two, by far, really epitomized that. I noticed we've got some live stream chatting, Claire, and I'm trying to keep my eye on that too. So if I look away for a moment, I might be addressing some of the listeners, but we can absolutely, start this off if you want to kick off the first episode of the night, and kind of maybe Holly and Mina can remind us of the backstory going into that. Like, what were we coming into at the beginning of episode 8 when Rob calls out to Virginia on the floor? How does that really kick off the drama of last night's event?
Yeah, I would love to hear y'all's like opinion. Holly, like you the as someone who hasn't dueled, like
Mhm.
you know that it's possibly going to be your turn. Because Mina, you at this point know that you can't be randomized again.
Oh, I was just chilling. I'm just
Yeah.
chilling in the corner. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Mina,
So-
Protecting my mama Angie. I'm like, peace and love, everybody.
Yeah. So Holly, how are you feeling at the beginning?
yeah. So like at this point in the show, it just like felt like I'm going to get randomized this episode. Of course, I kind of felt like that every episode, but now it's like really getting real because there's so many less people. So I was like really expecting to get randomized, and I was sorry, just I don't know. It was just like I was ready, but I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if Virginia was going to keep playing or what was going to happen, but I was ready in case it did land on me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it did. Just
And
for a
it
spoiler
did.
alert for anyone listening
Yeah.
that hasn't watched, it did.
It
The
did.
randomizer got you. You got.
And it didn't take long. It didn't take long, right?
It
I mean,
not
when
at all.
Virginia said, I'm cool with DIY. I'm going to hang out here. I'm going to play this. I'm not sure she realized just the percentage chance that she would not be there for long, just given how many people had yet to duel, how many
Right.
people were surrounding her space in that status, that obviously it didn't take long. It was the first episode of the show. And of course, Jeremy gets lit up.
Yeah.
And I don't know about anybody else, but I fielded a few text messages from friends and family going, "This is so not random!" Exclamation point. Which I'm sure, Claire, you heard from season 1 too. Everybody thinks there's some kind of grand wizard behind everything. And so be it. Whatever it is, however you want to define random, there's a lot of theories out there. You can throw the same number of people in and mix it up, and it's still random, even if you've selected the people. It really depends on how people look at it. But I think Jeremy, God bless him, I think it was probably the best possible scenario because he couldn't help but challenge Virginia.
Mhm.
And with Virginia's popularity going into the beginning of episode 8, nobody wanted to take on the role of knocking her out or even trying to. And he was just like, I can't help it. The fates have spoken. So what did you guys think of that duel?
Well, I was also just going to say for the randomizer itself, like it was, I mean, expected that it was going to land on a square next to Virginia. She had
Definitely.
so much turf at that point. So the fact that it landed on Jeremy and he could only choose Virginia. I mean, I don't know. I personally didn't want to face Virginia. Not that I was anywhere near her, but if I wasn't going to be picking her that early in the episode. So it's crazy that it landed on Jeremy and he had to do that.
I mean,
It
the
was.
likelihood that it was going to touch her it was high. And so he had
Very
to
much.
challenge her in DIY.
Yep. What did you think
How
of that
was
duel? What did you think? Is anybody here DIY and DIY enthusiast other than myself? Girl, put it up. Girl power tools. Right here. Girl power tools. That should be like our next podcast,
I've done some furniture in my day,
Yeah, you've got some flat pack. You've done some IKEA, right? At a minimum. Well, obviously that was a category that neither of them were comfortable with, right? It wasn't Jeremy's category, and Virginia had just inherited it from Christian from the final duel last week. So if she took time to study, there wasn't a lot of time to study. And, chances are she's seen a hammer or two. She strikes me as somebody who's got her own little garden shed out there and she piddles and patters.
Oh, for
What
sure.
did you think about how it went?
I did enjoy that it was neither of theirs like original category, just because it was like, oh man, obviously Virginia was a cast favorite. She is absolutely incredible. At the end of the episode, she sang to us on the bus. She serenaded us in Italian. She is just so amazing. And obviously, I feel bad for anybody who had to challenge her because nobody wants her to lose, but also you can't help but root for the underdog a little bit every time. So I feel like, man, you're on an island. You have no choice. You have to battle the whale. It's like, oh, this is brutal because that's my girl Virginia. But you know what, Jeremy? Like, you're the underdog. I kind of want you to win too. But it was like, oh.
Well, and anytime
I
somebody's won 20K, it's okay to leave the show. You got 20K in your pocket. There's no tears there.
No one's feeling that bad for eliminating Virginia. Like,
Right.
It's not happening.
Like on y'all's season, for me at least, I guess I can't really speak for all of season 1, but when someone won 20K, I was like, okay, it's time to go. Like
Make room for the rest of us.
Right. You need to go. So like someone please take that person out. because it wasn't going to be me, but I did still want them to leave. So, did y'all feel that way?
I felt that way. I definitely wanted people to leave, but I was also like thinking about it strategy wise. I mean, you don't really want to get a whale out early
That's
on
a
in the
good
episode,
point. Yeah.
then you're just a target again. So it's more just like, do you wait until the final duel to try and take out the whale? Then the randomizer might not land near a whale, so then they get another 20K. So it's just kind of
Yeah, right.
you have to weigh your odds. And I mean, the whale never came by me, so I didn't have to make that decision. But
Yeah,
Well, and
you know what?
afterwards,
Our right side was pretty well protected.
yeah,
I think from the jump.
by you.
I mean,
You were the wall.
I was they kept calling me the wall. They're like, "You're the wall, Angie. We're just gonna hide behind you, like a mama with her like baby ducks." And y'all were like right behind me, and I was like, "Don't get my ducks." It was really cute. But then when the randomizer kind of leapfrogged the wall, and now we're having to see some of my people on that side really start to have to attack, and that's when we got to the second duel, and that's when Holly got her moment. Right. And you look like you've been waiting for it. You know, Rob's like, randomizer got you. And you're like, bring it on. Tell us what went through your mind when you had to weigh those three options. What was it? Autumn, puppies, and Las Vegas? No. What was the other one you
it
had?
was Nina, accessories.
Oh, that's right. I
Accessories.
forgot.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh, yes. What went through your head when you were faced with those options?
Well, with the randomizer landing on me, I was pretty disappointed because I knew if a randomizer landed next to me, no one was going to challenge me. Like, I knew Mina wasn't going to challenge me. I knew Sydney wasn't going to challenge me. And then I knew Lily wasn't going to challenge me. Puppies wasn't going to challenge me. So I was pretty disappointed when it landed on me, but I just faked it till I made it. And then as far as
why would you say that? Why would you say they wouldn't challenge you?
Yeah,
Is it because you have such an intimidating presence? Because you really do just exert this aggression that is just unfettered. It is scary.
Very intimidating. But
you kind of give like quiet genius a little bit, and you're like very much kind of like keep to yourself, but you're still nice. And also, everyone was afraid of that category. Like
exactly, it was the category.
That was one of the only categories I studied because I was so afraid and I was so sure that I was gonna have to. I don't know. I was just like, I'm gonna have to catch mascots. I'm gonna lose. Is it gonna be the mascot? Is it gonna be like name the? I don't know. Everyone was just afraid of the category.
Yeah, because
afraid of you.
Well, it's also like I was very happy when I had a sports related category, because with sports it's like people either really know sports or they know nothing at all. And I quickly found out that people around me pretty much knew nothing at all, or so I thought. That's what they were telling me. That's the vibes that I picked up. We'll never really know until it
airs.
Yeah,
but okay, so you picked puppies.
So I picked puppies because
I want to know why.
Yeah, so the whole season I was thinking I would pick Autumn, because I was like, this is gonna be a speed duel. It's just objects people know. You're like, it's just a speed thing. But later and later, as the season went on, I was like, again, I'm surrounded by these people who don't really know college mascots. I have the wall of Angie. If I win puppies, I'm still surrounded by like the same people.
Right.
So I just like felt better about people not then challenging me. Whereas if I went to Autumn, that exposed me to a lot more of the floor.
And sneakers. You would have been exposed to Michael if you took over Autumn, and you have to think he knew sports somewhat.
Exactly.
Nobody was trying to take on Michael.
And I didn't know sneakers, so I did not want to be next to that to possibly inherit that. And then obviously I'm not going to challenge Mina because she's a beast. And she's good at speed, so I wasn't going to be accessories, so it just kind of landed on puppies. And honestly, after being around Lily for a while, I thought maybe she might choke a little bit up there. That was also in my head. And other people, I won't say who, other people also thought she might choke up there, so I was getting pressured. But ultimately, it was my decision, and I chose puppies.
And so, honestly, like, I thought that was a hard category. Like, the first couple I knew. And then an Irish setter.
Right? Everybody's shouting Cocker Spaniel. Yeah. And you're right. It's like, well, it's a red Cocker Spaniel, so I guess it's an Irish setter. Right? Like, how are you telling the difference there?
Who has an Irish setter in America? Let me know.
Right.
I'd like
right. Like, if they put like a glass of Guinness next to it, we might have picked up a clue. But I was like, I don't know what that is either. You were very poised, though. You didn't panic. I was proud of you. You just kind of rolled.
it was like this show is filmed in Ireland. So I
But-
should have studied some
supposed to
Irish
know that.
dogs.
It's supposed to
So
be-
Well,
in
Irish
our
Wolfhound was
season-
the last one, right? Irish Wolfhound was one of the last ones
Mhm.
in the lineup. So you're right about that. There was a theme going on.
In
Mhm.
our
So
okay,
it
so in
was
our
really cool.
season, we had a couple of Irish things like throughout the show. So one was junk drawer items, and the picture was of a charger. It was a European plug. So like people were like, I mean, I think that's a charger, but like, is that a washing machine
What
cord?
is
Like,
that?
what the heck is that?
Right?
So like there are certain things that are just European in the show. So
Right.
I thought that was funny because I was like, Cocker Spaniel, I love that dog.
Yeah.
Why are you buzzing?
I was
then
so confident it was Cocker or Springer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When,
Yeah.
And then I was just
when it was
thrown.
Irish Setter, I was like, man, they did this dirty.
Well,
a
the
little
other
bit.
thing too, looking back on it, is in season one of the duels was dogs,
Yep.
and I don't think they reused any of those dogs.
They didn't.
And those were
Yeah, I
all-
don't-
might I
that'd be
say,
good. It'd be
a little
interesting to go
bit
back
easier.
and compare.
100%.
But the puppies were just tougher, right? They were almost like avatars, right? Kind of like like exaggerated eyes, exaggerated ears, almost caricatures of the dog. So even if you knew the breed, the puppy kind of threw off the proportions a bit.
Right,
it was
right.
So I
breed
think that was
too.
tough. It was
And I
tougher
think
than
you could-
people thought.
You
They
can
were
really
so
see the
cute.
proportions thing too. I think when Lily got Corgi, because Corgi is so recognizable, but as a
Right.
puppy, it's a little bit like more
Right.
condensed.
Right. I
I
think
mean,
that was
Lily
different.
crushed it, but
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and what was so sad was we had to say goodbye to you, which
know.
I have to give you mad props on your shirt. My husband loves your shirt. Like, I mean, and I knew it too. When he walked in, I was like, he's going to say something about his shirt. Like, that was just great. But
Yeah.
I mean, we had to move on to Skyline. And, I will point out lots of randomizer this episode, probably
Very
more
much.
than any other
Yeah.
episode.
Well, I think you're right, but I think at this point there's more strategy. And going back to the floor, particularly on the right side, was really the more calculated move. And Lily saw that. She's like, why am I going to keep pushing if I can go back and hide and likely not be as vulnerable? So she went right back. And then, of course, the randomizer's like, oh, no, right side, you don't get to escape. We're going to pluck, Jennifer out of the loop.
Who
Right? Wasn't
is-
she next?
I love you, Angie. I love you, Holly.
What did I miss?
and
Oh,
Nina.
Jennifer was second.
Oh, Jen, that is our queen.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Claire. We mixed that up. Jennifer was the second duel, not Holly. My bad.
no.
no, she was after
It was
Holly.
the second duel, and
It
then
was
it was
No, the second duel was Jennifer and Sabrina, wasn't it?
No,
That was the
I
third.
was second.
All right. Well, my bad.
Yeah.
I'm fired. I'm sorry. What
So-
were we going to say, Claire? You were going to dress me down on something. What did I do wrong?
Well, no. The next was Skylines, which honestly, terrifying duel. I knew I wasn't going to know any of them, and I didn't. But which is funny because I know all the capitals and all of that stuff on a
Right.
map. But if you show me a Skyline, I have no idea. But I love all of y'all. But Jennifer is a national treasure. We must protect Beans at all costs.
Hell yes.
I
Hell yes. Yes.
love her.
Well, you know what you may not know, Claire, is, and I don't think this is proprietary information, but when we got our category list originally, as you know, you get it like a week before you fly out and film, and they have the list. Her category was not just beans. It was beans with what?
Exclamation point.
Exclamation point. And so ever since that, we would just, her name was just Beans. And we'd all just walk around going, Beans, but you had to shout it. It wasn't just Beans, it was Beans. And she just owned it to the nth degree. And no, she is such a treasure. I mean, she is as down to earth, kind, genuine, charming as she
Southern
came off. Like there was no pretense to Jennifer. Like what you saw is all her. And I
Like-
agree. She's just lovely.
Of course she's a high school teacher. It like makes so much sense. Like I just love her. And when I saw Beans, I don't know if anyone else felt this way. I immediately thought Even Stevens. Like the
Oh,
kid in Even
Oh, yeah. Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah. And I like naturally just love beans because of that. And I like to eat them too. But I cannot wait to watch that duel.
Oh, I'm excited.
Oh yeah, I bet it's going to be amazing. I can't tell you. I mean, I don't know, but
So
I have no doubt she's going to represent no matter what.
It's gotta be.
And
It's
she-
gotta be a good duel with
she
the exclamation
picked-
point. I feel like says it all.
Yeah.
seriously. Yeah, the exclamation point does say it all. Okay, so I have to admit, I was nervous that she was going to get out because she was like, I mean, my son likes skylines. So, and I was like, oh
Right.
no, here we go. This is going to be bad.
Right?
She pulled it out.
She really did.
She was so thrilled when Florence was up there. And I
Oh,
was
did
like,
you see? She just goes, Florence. It reminded me of Sandy Bullock in While You Were Sleeping. Do you remember when
Yeah.
the character has like Florence in the snow globe and she's just, oh, Florence, Florence. I mean, Jennifer had this, like, you know, if she won 20K, she's going to Florence. Like, you could just
Oh,
tell
yeah.
it's like her destiny. It was beautiful.
Oh my gosh,
It was
she
beautiful.
crushed it.
She
crushed
really did. She did so well. And then again, she too was tempted to stay and decided, hey, you know what? It's safer for me to go back to the corner, even though she had American history right in her sights. And she's been teaching American history for 29 years. And that just goes to show you how intimidating some of these categories can be. You know, like we'll see Mia had world history. She's right. It's thousands of years. What tactic are they going to take? What kind of visual are you going to see? American history, it's huge. And I think in that moment, she chose strategy over her own expertise. We'll see if it panned out for her.
Especially because if her expert category is beans, she either knows them or she's been studying them, and that's a limited category. That's one of those you can only, there's only so many beans and legumes. Like, you know,
Right.
it is smart. Also, I just have to say, when I was looking at the category list and I saw beans exclamation, I was like, I literally turned my partner at the time and I was like, I just know that the person who came up with that category is so annoying. Gotta be some like, I was imagining some like 20-year-old like dweeby guy, like I don't know, who like thinks he's super quirky,
Who does like vermiculture and has like a bunch of worms and grows his own bean farm, right? And yes, I thought that too.
Who's the beans person? I met Jen and I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god,
The
Your
sweetest person
beans.
of all time.
like, she should be like a television character.
she's
She
so
really
funny.
should.
She's
I think
hilarious.
she should. If you heard her give a shout out to, she said something like, everybody should be eating chickpeas. I'm telling you, if the Chickpea Council, like there's got to be some national chickpea council, like there's a national chickpea council of like Florence, and they are going to have to hire her as like their tourism queen, like Queen Bean, we call her, or Lady Legume, we call her in our chats. Like she's got so many nicknames in our WhatsApp chat group. I mean, she is just the best.
Wait,
The best.
Queen Bean. I
Queen Bean.
love that. I love it
Yeah.
so much. That is incredible. And I am so glad that she won because I cannot wait for her duel. But
Yeah.
after she won, she did go back.
Yeah. Yep.
And we were given the duel that America couldn't not watch, which was world history with Austin and Mia.
Another right side duel, right? It was all right side heavy this week. for
All on the
sure.
right side.
Yeah.
And I will have to say, I did not think that Austin was gonna like crush it as much as he did. And I also am probably projecting because I hate I mean, I love history, you know, we all, you know, but that was my worst subject. Like, if you tell me what's a war in this year, I'm like, not a clue.
Maybe
Like,
century. You may be able to get the century of a war.
no,
But even
I don't
then, yeah, no, if it's not a 20th century war, I'm like, it's just back in the day. Right?
Well, and the other thing with that category is you're reading, right? It's not just pictures.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That was
me,
text based.
I can't read fast. Like that's just not
Yeah.
my skill set. So
Yeah.
I'm very glad that was not near me. But like that is
Yeah.
a whole other aspect to the show.
Yeah.
That we
Same
haven't
with
really
the,
seen in this
you're right.
season.
Same with the auditory
Mhm.
categories, which we'll see later too, is it's a different cognitive process. Reading, you know, your brain is interpreting information differently, and then you've got to register it and then come. I mean, it is different, and it does take some time.
Well,
So
and you have
that was
on-
tricky.
on the reading ones, you have to really hope that your eye catches the context clue word immediately. Because
Definitely.
if it doesn't, then you truly do have to read the rest. And on a lot of those, I was like, okay, I could get some of them. Titanic, I love that movie. So I knew that headline. But like there were a couple that I saw like a random word and I was like, I'd have to read the entire sentence. But I mean, that was tough, but they both did incredibly well. Mia was really on it too.
Yeah, they were really sharp.
Yeah.
Austin was at our lunch table and he was studying.
Yeah.
He was
He's a
studying
machine.
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was
He's
putting the work.
Which
yeah, really.
he proved that he knew what his plan was. He had a strategy because he kept going after he won that. And he took on New York, which fabulous category.
Really good, wasn't it?
Amazing.
It was good.
Amazing.
Love it.
It was so good. And yet so bad for Paul Liccardo. I mean, that poor man for the rest of life, he will not be allowed in a deli. It'll be a no soup for you situation, just like Seinfeld, because that was so hard. And what did he say? Dodgers, the New York Dodgers, he made Rob just guffaw. Oh, I felt bad. But Austin was just eating it up. Like, what do they say? He left no crumbs. I mean, it was just like done. He just laid that duel done.
8.
I feel
think
so
I was gonna
bad
say.
for Paul saying
He ate, as they
Yankee
say.
Dodgers or whatever he said. Like,
He's banned from
oh
Yankee
my
Stadium for
gosh.
life.
Rob Lowe is his worst fan, I guess you could say.
Yes.
Number one fan.
Worse than Corey. Remember when Corey didn't recognize the mullet from St. Elmo's Fire? And Rob was like, "Get that to me." He's like, Paul, Corey couldn't be happier because Corey is in like the rear view mirror, right? Paul is now the new whipping boy of Mr. Lowe, I'm afraid.
But
did anything like that happen, Claire, on season 1? Do you remember anything on your season happen where Rob just seemed almost personally offended by someone's ignorance? It seems that's happened more than once on our season, and I just found that interesting. I don't know if it happened on yours.
I don't remember anything like that happening. I think we had The Outsiders, or maybe that was y'all's show. I can't remember, but
we had Outsiders on ours, coming of age movies. Yeah,
and then we had a couple of things that he was in, but everyone got them, so he couldn't. We didn't give him any grief, but
you're his favorite. Then you'll be his favorite season, I guess.
Well, and we didn't even know he was our host until the day before. So, we just. I guess we were a season full of Rob Lowe fans.
I guess.
I mean,
you were blessed with that Rob Lowe fandom.
I visually am a Rob Lowe fan.
I mean, who is not?
I mean, you can crack. I mean, it's Christmas season. You could totally crack walnuts on that jaw, right? Like you just don't even. I mean, he's just got a chiseled jaw, all the pretty things. He is a very aesthetically pleasing fellow. That I think is undeniable.
What'd you say, Mina?
I said his skin. I mean, he looks so good up close. I was like, he looks 2D, like,
right?
Like in a good way, if that makes sense.
It's. He reminds me of that meme I love. That it's not. You're not ugly. You're just poor. It's like that he's had. I mean, there is no denying he's had work done, but it's good work.
It's good work. You're right. You're not seeing any of the signs of interference.
Right. And
just the angel kisses.
And he leaves it like a little natural. Like he's got some lines, but like that's been pulled. And whoever his doctor is, great work.
Yeah.
Keep
well
it
done.
up.
Well done.
Anyway, now that if you're listening.
Yeah. Join us so we can gush in real time.
And okay, so Austin
married, Claire, aren't you? Aren't you married to Grant?
I don't have to be.
Married, not buried, right? Married, not buried, as they like to say. Okay, so after Austin took down poor Paul, who can maybe buy a hot dog in New York if he's lucky, he decided that he was really, like you said, executing a plan, right? And he went to go for that time boost, and he grabbed Danny. Danny and Sounds, right? And he was on fire. I mean, he was owning that podium. Austin looked like he was taking no prisoners. So it was a hard duel to watch a little bit, I have to say.
Well, because this was so y'all remember the Julianne
Oh,
Heather duel
yeah.
where they both forgot it was their turn, and all my friends were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that happened." I'm like, "Just wait, it happens again." It was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking to watch. Like,
And
was like-
there was great foresight into that, because if you listen a couple duels earlier when Rob Lowe's going over the categories, he's doing the animal sounds and he does the donkey noise.
Yes, he did.
Lo and behold.
Low and behold.
I see what you did there.
Mhm.
Low.
Huh?
I like that. I like that.
He
I love a
forgets
good.
that it's his turn on donkeys.
I love a good
What?
pun, Holly. That was good.
Yeah,
I will
really
say
good.
that was heartbreaking. Like, you just want to be like, dude, like it is you. But it's so easy to pass and literally forget that it doesn't, like, it comes back to you.
Especially with noises. Because both
Yeah.
people are hearing the noises.
never passed.
Oh,
Yeah.
well.
Well, and
And
it was hard
you had the
because you didn't
screams.
know. Yeah. You didn't know to be embarrassed for him because he didn't know what a donkey sounded like, or to be embarrassed for him because he didn't know it was his turn. Like either way, it was like this double feeling of like, which one of these two bad things is happening to Austin? That poor fellow. Please, like, pull him out of this somehow. And he did. He had that great, cute, cheeky moment where he's like, you remind me of like a runner-up in a pageant. It's like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? And then he's like stands like a soldier and just finishes it out with poise. But that had to hurt him. It really did. He was so on fire. It was hard.
Angie, I've seen that look before in a pageant.
I know
That was
that
actually-
Sash Collective girl. You know your Sash life.
that
Am I
that
wrong? It was just a little bit of that shock and awe moment, right?
very accurate. I've personally done that, but yeah, no, that was accurate. I like that. It made me so sad that he like forgot it, because I do deserve that. I think that he deserved to win. And this is where I started thinking, and I'm sorry, I don't know him. I don't like Danny. I think it really bothers me that he won that. And
Yeah.
that's the only reason why I don't like him. It's not because he was slimy on TV. I just didn't think he should have won that.
And it's
And
just like Austin was studying so hard. I mean, he was
was.
at the lunch table. He had his headphones on with the
He
animal
was.
sounds going. Like
It's
was-
another great example, and I think we all saw this. And if you're in sports, as I think Holly played sports, I'm sure all of us have done some form of competing in life, right? Whether it's pageant stage or the sports court, there's a feeling of losing to someone who competed better than you did, and then
Right.
there's losing because you failed to do your best. And I think there's nothing more heartbreaking than losing because you lost, not because you were beaten. And I think that was a fantastic example of that. And I don't know if Danny Danny walked away 20K eventually. I'm sure he feels fine. He's not losing sleep over it. But even in that moment, I have a feeling Danny, because he's a huge trivia competitor, would have liked to have really won it, right?
Mhm.
Would have liked to have had a buzzer beater, a 1 second, a moment where everybody goes, oh, did that just happen? And not
Especially because he
Rob
won
coming
the
out going, oh, Austin kind of gave you a break there, buddy. I'm not saying it makes you like him or not like him. It just, I think he wanted a bigger fight too. I don't think anybody really won in that way, right? At the end of the day, I think they both kind of lost something, but Austin really, that hurt because I thought he was going to go pretty darn far.
And
Well, and-
if I may, give a superlative to Austin for the best one-liners of the season so far.
Best.
Austin, you killed that.
And the best posture of anybody on the floor,
one-liners.
and the best one-liners.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yep. He made a whole episode title.
He really did.
I give him his credit.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
that is
And-
awesome.
And he's awesome. Like, that's the thing about all these people is I'm like, can't even hate them because they're super cool.
Yeah.
Also
No,
just-
I mean,
Yeah.
He
I thought
might
you-
have jinxed himself by saying he's not doing it for the time boost, he's doing it for the drama, because he gave some drama.
Yep.
He
He
did
really
give some
did.
drama.
I
He
love
really,
that.
really did.
he did it for the plot, and I am for it. And I mean, even though Danny took it home, and I said that I don't enjoy him, and I'm so sorry, Danny, if you're listening. I'm sure you're fabulous outside of this competition, and I'm going to give you a serious prop right now. He actually did fabulous in the next duel against
Yes, he
Zuri
did. Yeah.
in female athletes. And Zuri, for Gorgina, like,
Hello. Are we watching Project Runway or are we watching the floor? Right.
Yep.
I mean, I think I said that
Yeah.
in like our WhatsApp group because I was like, this girl is, as the Irish say, garge. Right. John Paul, our makeup guy, like, she's so garge. I mean, she's a vision, right? I mean, she's just beautiful.
like literally stunning. Like, someone needs to sign her, and she needs to be modeling on New York Fashion Week. Like, she is so
Well,
beautiful. So
She's
I
too
was like,
busy being a girl boss, being an intimacy coordinator, getting her PhD. I'm pretty sure
Yep.
she's like
an
Yeah.
intimacy coordinator
Yeah, that's her profession.
on set.
Yeah, not on our set. Gosh,
on
we
our
didn't
set.
have that much fun on the floor. But yeah, no, just kidding. But yeah, she's an intimacy coordinator for film and television, and she has her master's in social work. And she also she's a former coach of the Atlanta roller derby team. I mean, it's like, oh, she was just on a reality show. What was that called, guys? It was LG something house, like
A
Money
State of
House or-
Survival. A State of Survival. on
a state
Amazon
of
Prime.
survival. It was a yeah, she's got her hands in a lot of pots, and you know, she was an intimidating force. I mean, to look at her and be like, who doesn't know female athletes? I mean, and little Danny Gomez up there, and you're like going, I would have put my money on Zuri, like, without even blinking.
Zuri was a studier.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
had her binder. She was one of the binder people.
She was a binder person, yeah. But it went down in an interesting way. They had to skip some and stumbled over some. And I thought some of the pictures were hard too. I'll be honest. I actually know a couple of those athletes tangentially. And I even had a hard time picking out like Mia Hamm, I went to high school with her. And I used to announce the soccer games that she played in. There's a story there for another day. But I even looked at her and I was like, oh yeah, that's Mia Hamm. Or, you know, some of the gymnasts, when you slick back hair in a tight pony and they're sweaty, sometimes you just can't differentiate. I think they struggled, but Danny pulled it out really well.
Mhm.
I mean, some of the pictures, I mean, Caitlin Clark is recognizable, but that picture, you got to get a bit better picture than that.
Yeah, that wasn't very flattering. That didn't work very well.
They always do celebrities so dirty on this show. I remember watching season 1, and there was maybe it was like an actor category or something, and I was like, I know pop culture, and these people, I'm like, no, that's first of all rude, disrespectful to the celebrity that you put that picture, and second of all, how are we supposed to tell who that is?
I think that
Absolutely.
like on our season we had it was like pop stars, and I'm pretty sure it was like Madonna that did not look like, and I would have never guessed that, and thank God I didn't play that category. But is that who you're thinking of?
I think so, yeah, because it was, I remember there being a bunch of like female celebrities and thinking like, these are terrible photos of all of them.
Right. Yeah. Yes. And I swear they do that to trip people up.
Mhm.
And I mean, it obviously works, but like, if I were the celebrity and I'm watching the floor, I would be grade A pissed if you put a crappy photo on of me.
Yes. Yeah. So like in like subsequent seasons, when one of the category is floor contestants, if a picture of any of us is not flattering, we are writing seriously strongly worded letters because it's just not okay.
It's
I
not
mean,
okay.
We've seen it. It's not okay. And unfortunately, that battle went Danny's way. And in the same way that Austin had that like laser focus of boom, 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 I'm getting the time boost, Danny was the same way. He's like, boom, I knocked out sounds. Boom, I knocked out female athletes. I need another one. I want the time boost. There's $20K for the taken. Yeah, it's alternative music. Yeah, Jeremy seems to be like the poster child for like, I think there's a sound clip of me saying he made mixtapes when he was a high school kid. But Danny knew his alternative music too, and it was the duel to end it. And what do y'all think about that? What do you think about the choices of song titles for that category? We're all of that era, right? 90s. Claire, I don't know when you were born. I'm not going to ask you to reveal, but I graduated high school in 91. You know, the 90s, early 2000s, the 80s. You know, I was a fan of the Pearl Jam, Nirvana era. Some of those were very familiar, and some of them were just like, what'd you think?
I knew Even Flow was Pearl Jam because I loved to play Garage Band. No, not Garage Band, Guitar
Friend.
Hero.
Oh, Guitar
And it
Hero.
was a song on Guitar Hero. I could play that on expert level. Like, I
Girl,
mean,
all right, we have to see that. I want to see video. I want
I-
to see you pull that out.
That's
That's
awesome.
great.
I loved Guitar Hero. I still have the game on PS2 with the guitar at my
Well,
parents'
that's so
house.
cool.
It's such a good
I
game.
think we have a reunion at Claire's house and a Guitar Hero championship.
on.
That would be
I'm so
awesome.
down.
Come
Awesome.
on. But like, I mean, some of those titles, like, I mean, Holly, you mentioned it earlier, the reading part. Like,
right.
it takes longer. And I mean, I know songs, but it takes me a second to register who's saying that. There's a reason why I wasn't on Beat Shazam. You know what I mean? Or name that tune. So I thought that was really tough. And I literally laughed out loud when they had to pass on Nickelback. I was like, God, just another dig at Nickelback. Like,
I know the band everybody loves to hate. And Rob even had a look on his face, right? They did a cut to him and going like, you know, I don't know. I like Nickelback. I think they're catchy. I'm going out there. I'll say it. Like, I'll make it public. I see nothing wrong. I defy anybody not to sing along
I'm
when a
the same way.
Nickelback song
I
comes on.
agree. Nickelback gets too much hate, and they
Thanks,
don't
Holly.
deserve it. They don't deserve
a
it.
bop is a bop, and I love some dad rock.
A bop is a bop, baby. I'm telling you. I agree. And you called Linkin Park when they missed it. That was a good cutaway to you. I remember that moment. We all turned to each other going, Linkin Park.
Me and all my friends were like, "This is your legacy, Mina. You look like a Linkin Park stan." And I was like, "Have my face, okay."
Linkin Park's
Like-
biggest fan.
I remember buying Numb on iTunes and putting it on my iPod. Like, I mean, how do you not know Linkin Park? I was like, Mina gets it. Like,
You remember that guy? Do you remember Napster? I think I downloaded a bunch of that stuff on Napster back in the
yeah,
day.
sure.
I think
Yeah.
I think our youngins may not know of which I speak, but there was a time,
I know.
of Napster.
Yeah.
you know, of Napster. It was like the MySpace
good.
AOL era, but just
Yeah.
saying. I also have a shoebox full of mixtapes. I mean, that struggle was real. Claire, you maybe remember making those. It was like you had to call and then make a request, and then the DJ would come on, and then they'd talk over like the first 30 seconds of the song, and then you'd have to cut them out. But, you know, it was all in the name of love. We usually made it for you know, the people we loved. So
Speaking of like calling the radio, I thought about this the other day. Like, I heard something that if you remember what you were wearing on a day, that actually is like a true trauma that you experienced. And I have one experience in particular that I like always think of, and I have no idea why this was traumatic. But I vividly remember coming home from school one day and being obsessed with the SOS song by Rihanna. And I called incessantly. I sat next to the jukebox and I was calling and I was like, okay, when are you going to play it? And they're like, the sixth grader, or I was probably in seventh or eighth, is like blowing our phone up. And I would call from like all my, like, I had all the house phones. I used my fax phone. Like, I tried to make sure, like, different voices so they didn't think it was just me. They thought like so many people
Oh my
wanted to hear SOS by Rihanna. And
So what were you wearing? Well, you said you had to remember what you were wearing. It was a traumatic moment. Do you remember?
I was just in my uniform, like my school uniform, but like when I was told that, I immediately went to that experience. So like I don't know why I did that, but still to this day, going back to what Mina said, a bop is a bop. Like
It really is. It
I
really
love
is.
that.
Everyone is a bop, so you weren't wrong for doing that.
No,
I was on trend.
you were on trend.
It was so good. And like,
That's
of
awesome.
course, by the time I had to like do my homework, I had to turn the radio off. So like I didn't even get to hear it. I was so pissed. But
All
you
right, I know. Yeah, that is adorable.
it's like
What
you know, watching TV shows, like you had to time it right. There was no TiVo. Like you had to
Yeah.
be at your TV at 7 o'clock for your show. That's
Yeah,
how I felt
on
about
it.
the radio.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, okay. And we rounded it out with alternative music, and Danny won the 20K.
He did, didn't he?
And that was
Claire's mean mugging. You're mean
I mean,
mugging.
that was Danny's winning moment though, because that was
He did
such-
him. That was the battle that sounds should have been.
that was
Like that was a
amazing.
good head to head, right? I mean, it really was. And
And
two
like,
guys,
he-
roughly
he-
same
he-
era.
He crushed all of them. So
He did. And
Mhm.
female athletes, he crushed it. I'm going to be interested now. See, he's still got the category he inherited from Austin. He's still got failed political candidate, which I have to say was one of the categories, probably like world currency, and maybe even stocks for some people, you know, or state flags that people were just like, oh, heck no. Like, I don't even want to touch that. And now the whales got it. So that 20K carrot that he represents might just get people to overcome their fear of, you know, people like Geraldine Ferraro, you know, if people even remember who that was. But, you know, failed political candidates is going to be tough. It's going to be a challenge.
So, you know, at the beginning, whenever I asked about if someone's won 20K, did y'all just feel like they needed to go?
Yeah.
Well, now
He
he's
gotta
won 20K, so he can go.
So he
Like-
can go.
I am so I'm so upset about that Animal Sounds duel. Like, and
I feel that.
it really put a damper on my evening. And
Well,
I'm glad he has money. I hope he uses that on something really fun, but it's time for someone to take out the whale.
Yeah.
And who knows? It might be you, Mina.
I mean,
We'll see. We'll see. At this point, well, I think at this point there are still people left to be randomized, but we're coming up on the part of the season where like they run out of
Yeah,
people.
a lot of people
don't.
a lot of people don't know that's coming. I read some chat rooms. I read some.
Wait,
a
what?
friend of mine. Okay, so a friend of mine posted some chatter on Reddit. So this didn't happen in season 1, but in our season, you get to the place where every contestant has been dueled. Every contestant has been randomized or challenged someone else, and we all get put back in the salad spinner because they started over again. That's what's in the game rules. And if you look, just looking at numbers, and you look at those numbers, you realize there are not many unrandomized people, and there are 9, 10, 11, 12, 4 episodes left. And at 8 to 10 duels an episode, somebody is going to be re-randomized, or they're going to have to find another way to turn people on to other people. And that's what I think America's got to stay tuned for, is because we're running out of people who can hide, because you just can't keep hiding with this many episodes left. We've been going back and forth so much that we're running out of that neutral space. And
so you're telling me that Beans can get randomized again?
Beans would technically defend her category before that would happen.
No,
Because
no,
somebody
but
next
you're
to
saying
her
there's
is
a
like going
chance.
to take her.
There
Right, because
is a
somebody
chance.
next to her, there is a chance. Yeah, I guess technically there could be, but there's people next to her who haven't. Like David hasn't played, Joanne hasn't played,
There's a
Danny
lot of
hasn't
one
played.
squares. Yeah, there's a lot of single squares right next to
There's some
Beans.
single squares, but there's
Right.
not enough single squares to carry the rest of the show.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like just mathematically, we're going to have to do something different, and that'll be
And
fun to see.
it could be Beans.
It could be Beans.
That's what I'm saying. Like I get that there's like a lot of squares left, but it could be Beans.
It could be Beans.
I don't like that. I don't like.
You know
that
what would be
anyone
worse for
could-
you, Claire? The worst thing in the world for you would be for somehow in the universe for Jennifer to get randomized again and then challenge Danny, because Danny doesn't get kicked out. And then Danny wins and inherits Beans. I think that would be your worst nightmare, because not only do you not want to see Danny stick around and win more money, but you don't want to see him with Beans. And I'm really hoping that doesn't happen. Look at Claire's face. She's like, I hadn't even thought of that.
Claire's gonna have nightmares tonight.
He has got to go.
He's got to go.
Failed political. No.
Maybe
he
Mina will
can't.
take him. Maybe Mina will take him. Who knows what's coming up? We don't know.
Maybe.
Holly doesn't know. Holly's off the show. Mina and I are still there, but I don't know. I have a short memory, and it's been a long time since August. So
I was not going to the memory making factory, to say the least. I don't remember.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, well, rewatching my duel, it was like, was that me?
who was that? Yeah.
It's It is so weird watching yourself because it feels completely different. And I've never liked the way that I sound, but like hearing me talk on TV, I thought I had like a lot more personality and like was a little zingier. And I was like as dry as what, like a Chardonnay. It was horrible. I was like, girl, get some personality. That's
I
sad.
bet you were zingy. I think they probably just had to do some deep cuts. Like a lot of us, our banter was edited out. Our podium banter was edited out. I bet
No,
you were
like-
super zingy and it just didn't make the cut.
No, like how I answered. I thought I was like, Poland, Brazil. And I was like, Poland, Brazil. Like, I mean, it was so like sad and lame to watch.
And all
But-
of a sudden it doesn't,
What-
you're not listening to yourself.
You're not here to be zingy. You're here to win $250,000, as Rob Lowe would say.
Yeah, we're not here to make friends or be zingy, Claire. I think you were playing the role that you were meant to play.
That is
And
is
you looked
very
cute.
true.
I mean, you looked very cute. I remember you before we even met on this podcast adventure. I remember because I watched season 1, like most of us, I think studied if we could to watch some episodes. Like, what are we getting into? And I remember going, oh yeah, of course she was in pageants. I mean, look at her. She's like adorable. She has great posture. She's got like, walks all perky. She's got this cute little flowy dress. I was like, girl, she's like going to own it. And you were right up front too, if I remember. I think you were kind of in the front of the stage space, right?
Oh
Yeah?
I was just looking at Rob Lowe. And I will say, I don't know if I mentioned this in my first podcast with Brad and Heidi, but since I was dead center because we had 81, not 100, like there was a
Ooh,
middle.
Right.
So
right.
like it's kind of awkward because there's nowhere else for me to look other than at Mr. Lowe. And there became a point where I'd been there long enough that we kind of like were, I don't know, not
You
weren't-
were making eyes.
we
You're
were making eyes.
Claire.
Alright?
And he
Oh, girl,
would be
show
there,
us. Show
and
us.
he'd go
No, he would not.
finger wave
You
at
got
me.
fingered by Rob Lowe?
He would finger wave at me and I'd go
What would
So,
you do? Show me what you did again. Girl,
Did that never made the cut, I'm assuming? But oh, I wish
no
I
way.
could see him doing that.
Claire,
So see it.
you dirty little girl. That's so
You
cute.
won. You literally won the show. That's
That one, that's worth 20K to be like Rob fingered me on national television.
well, and I mean,
I'm sorry, that didn't come out right. I'm sorry, Claire. I walked right into that. Oh, golly. But seriously, girl, that's pretty great.
oh my god.
Somebody asked me if he touched me, and I said, I honestly don't remember. And after episode 2, I don't remember any of it, but he high-fived me like, you've got the time boost or something. And he was like, high five, this goofy thing. And there's like, my boyfriend screenshotted and sent it to me. He goes, he did touch you, like a high five. But now I'm going to be like, that's nothing because Claire got the finger action. And that is that, like, girl, that's the thing.
It was so funny. And after one of my duels, you know how like you run off and you start talking to the makeup people or whatever. No. I had done a duel and then I went back up during that same episode. And I was like, I need to calm down. I'm really nervous. Like, talk to me. And they were like, Rob Lowe touched your hands so many times earlier. Like we were counting. And I was like, I didn't even recognize it. But then when everyone on our season got COVID, I was like, it was because he was touching my hands. Like he was patient 0. Like, so I was, we're a family friendly network. I can't say that, but I got, it just, I got the little worm finger. Yeah. Like it's so cute, and I was like extremely flattered.
That is amazing.
I would be. Why wouldn't you be extremely flattered? Mina, Holly, do you remember being touched on the podium?
I just remember my handshake and of sadness, really. My handshake of
Oh,
sadness.
a handshake of sadness. Oh, girl.
You know, he doesn't have like a very strong handshake either. It's kind of like wet noodle handshake. And almost like, well, I guess this is maybe the COVID kind of
Noodly.
clammy palm handshake.
Oh.
His hands
And
were cold when I shook it.
I definitely, if
I don't even remember touching him.
I
I remember people
I've
asked me
listened.
if he smelled good, and people asked me if he's tall, and people asked me. That's the number one thing I'm sure everybody gets asked is, "Oh, what was Rob?" I was like, I don't know him. I don't know him. I called him Robot. I like him. He's a fine gentleman, but he just looked past us at a monitor, and I felt like there was no human connection. I felt none of us got the noodle. None of us got the little. I'm really here for you, contestant. I care about you as a person. No, I didn't feel any of that.
I would so when it happened, I went like
Girl,
that was for moi. Like
that is awesome.
and he was like,
Well, I wonder if Keelan on our episode got any finger waggles. We'll
Yeah,
have
he
to
was
ask
right
him
down there in the front.
because he was right in the front, and so we'll see. But that's a good story. I'm gonna leave on that one. That's a great story.
we
Um,
also oh wait, I'm sorry, are we leaving on that one? Because I have one
No,
more
no,
that
we
I
don't
can
have to leave
totally
on that. I
drop.
said
When I have
I
one
like having that visual. This little thing is so cute now.
Go.
But
You
you
have
do-
something to say, Mina?
Oh yeah, it's kind of unrelated to anything we were talking about. But
Fabulous.
last time I was on, we talked a lot about Small World, and Small World. So I was and we were talking about watching yourself on TV. I was at work a couple weeks ago, and this girl comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, is your name Mina?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Are you on the floor?" And I was like, "Yes." And she goes, "I'm on season 3." So there's another. So I met a girl from season 3 who came into my work, and she was like, "I can't believe I didn't put the pieces together because like this is like the piercing place in Nashville, and I saw that you were from Tennessee and that you worked at a piercing place. I can't believe I didn't put 2 and 2 together." Anyway, I told her to come to our watch party.
Yes.
So she did. She came last night with there's 2 people from Nashville from season 3. They both showed up last night, which was super cool because Jen was also there, Jen Livingood. And they were both. She comes up and she's like, "Is it weird to watch yourself?" And I was like, "Yeah, girl, buckle up. It's really weird."
It's weird, but that's really cool. So there's at least 4 Nashville contestants that you're aware of. That's awesome.
Yeah, so we have 4, and we're gonna go to their watch parties when they have them.
Absolutely.
So we're excited for season 3.
All right, then I've got to make a road trip. I've got to come down. Amy Wilkinson, she's nursery rhymes on the show. She's up in Chicago, and she keeps saying, "I'll just drive down to St. Louis and pick you up, and we'll go to Nashville." And we just have to make that happen.
Yeah.
So
No, seriously.
that'll be fun.
Seriously.
That'll be a good time.
I love
So,
that.
I'm so glad you guys came on. I'm so glad you were both like amenable to this, and we caught Mina in the middle of her busy travel schedule, and Holly has, processed her sadness and able to rise to the occasion and put it all in the rear view and share the fun with us. It was really, really a good time, and I'm just kind of glad it was all of us girls. I gotta say, Claire, because I don't think we could have had these fangirl moments and this gushy gush if any testosterone had been in the building. So yay girl power.
Oh yeah. And thank you guys so much for taking the time. I also want to point out that was kind of punny, Angie, when you said thanks for being amenable. I love that. That was really good.
Wordplay for the win. I love it. I love it. Lo and behold, and amenable. We are rocking it tonight, girls. Well done.
I'm a
Oh my God,
big.
wait. Claire, I don't know if you saw my Instagram post, but Holly, technically we have matching tattoos with a lot of people, but Holly and I did go get matching tattoos.
Yeah, you did. You've got feet.
We got back to Nashville.
They got feet on their bodies. Feet tattoos.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Wait, okay.
Like the day you got back, right? You guys got yours. I got mine like 2 days later. And I was so inspired. I love it. I love it.
Wait. That is so awesome.
If you're only listening to this podcast, you need to jump on and watch it so you can see our.
Yeah. If you weren't on YouTube, you missed it, everybody. Or you can tell us where to follow you guys on Instagram, and they could catch up. Milk Friendly there. Mina, you want to tell everybody what your Instagram is?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at milkfriendly_. Or if you're into piercings and you want to see my jewelry stuff, or I don't make jewelry, you can follow my piercing related Instagram at Chunky Septum. New handle just dropped. Anyway.
Love
Nice.
that.
And Holly, where can we follow you and your
You can
posting of
follow
fun
me,
things?
it's just my name at Holly_Linkowski. That last name's kind of tough, so you can just follow Mina and then search for Holly under her, and I'll be there.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
great.
Okay, I just followed you. So thank you for telling us your handle. And I mean, appreciate you guys. You guys are always welcome back. And we might even have y'all back whenever we dive into season 3,
I would
which
love that.
Yeah.
there is a release date for January.
Yes,
So-
right after the Super Bowl, right? Aren't we leading? The floor's leading off after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, which is such a huge deal, very exciting. And really, there's only a month break between y'all's season and season 3. So I'm very
God.
interested to see if
Yeah.
they continue that trend and like film
Yeah.
2 seasons back to back again. So
It's just,
Yeah.
it's so good. I can't wait to see season 3. I can't wait to see the end of season 2. I'm rooting. I don't know what happens. I'm rooting for Mina. Sorry, Angie, but she's got to bring it home to Nashville for us. I mean, she's the one who's going to be picking up my bar tabs if she wins. So
that
I'm gonna
is
give you
right.
that. I'm gonna give you that. I mean, yeah, I feel a bit like the Berlin Wall at this point. Like you're just knocking me down. It's fine because I recognize and your stage in life, having somebody less than a mile away who can pick up the bar tab and walk home with you is more valuable. But I would hope that you have a second choice, and that person is also on the podcast with you tonight.
Of
And for the
course.
record, we have been to the bar together, and it was a karaoke bar. So
Nice,
yeah,
All
and
right, I
Holly
love
did sign me
karaoke.
up
Claire.
for
You look like you love
twice without
karaoke.
even asking me what song I want.
Where are you, Claire? Are you in Oklahoma? Are you in
And you
OKC?
I'm
How
in
far is that
OKC.
from Nashville?
Far enough that I would fly, but
Okay.
I actually was at a karaoke bar last night.
Did
I
you sing
do.
SOS?
Yeah, there you go.
Wow, missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Truly.
Claire, we have to get you to Nashville. All
Yeah.
first, we need to go to a karaoke bar and sing
Yes.
SOS.
Yes.
I'm so
Yes.
in.
A
I
bop
have
is a
like-
bop.
I have songs that, it depends on the crowd, but I did open with Baby Got Back last night. And then I moved
course you did.
into Gunpowder and Lead.
Yes.
So
Wow,
like
transitions.
she's got variety.
Yeah,
like-
you do. Yeah, you
So-
do.
But yeah, no, I'm totally in for a trip to Nashville. I can't wait. And again, thank you guys so much. We're gonna plan a trip and we'll sign off. Thank you guys for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Next
Thanks for
week
having us.
we will be off because of Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
So we will kind of recap the next 2 episodes in 2 weeks. So make
That would
sure
be
you
a big
tune
one.
in.
That might be a double feature. We
be
might
a
have to
double
go
feature.
longer on that. It's going to be full of good stuff. I bet it's going to be awesome.
And from Claire and
we
Angie
got-
from the floor recap through Reality Check, thank you guys so much and have a very safe and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Safe travels to all.
Thank you.
Okay. Great.
That was good. I think we did okay.